there's talks around the Lakers surrounding Russell Westbrook. I had a feeling that this would come up. I didn't know if it would come up this soon, but it has. So let's go ahead and talk about it. You know, in a situation like this, the Lakers probably feel like they made a mistake. You know, they definitely probably feel that way. Looking at Russell Westbrook, yeah, he's averaging 19, 8, and 8. You know, he's definitely putting up his numbers, good numbers. But, you know, the turnovers, the just the bad IQ for basketball. I mean, I don't know, some of the things that he does, it really hurts the team overall. Now, you look at a game like last night, you know, he was shooting horrible, but he made up for it with the three he had against Dallas, and then he made the pass to Reeves, you know, who hit the shot at the end to win the game. That's good, but when you think about it, the game shouldn't even have went to that. It shouldn't even went that far. I mean, they had to go to overtime to beat a team without Luka Doncic. When you have three top star players in the NBA, it's no way possible. But see, when you look at Russell Westbrook overall, his game really just doesn't fit with the Lakers. I mean, not the way LeBron likes to play. LeBron plays with more shooters around him. See, shooters get him going. Shooters allow him to do what he does, which allows him to go one-on-one isolation to the basket when he chooses to, and find them when they're open for a high efficient shot. And that's the way he plays. But Russell Westbrook kind of alters that, and it kind of really throws Anthony Davis off somewhat anyway. But even though Anthony Davis is really not playing the way he's supposed to this season, but the Lakers definitely feel as though they need to make a move. And Russell Westbrook has got to be it, because he just doesn't fit and he doesn't make players better around him. And when you look at the Lakers, how they are, yeah, they're eking by some of these games, and, you know, they're getting some wins. I'm not taking their wins away from them. They definitely earned their wins, so you got to give them that. But they just don't look like a Lakers team that you're used to seeing, with dominance, confidence, and they go out there and take care of business. They just don't look like that. And the fact that they don't, it really, you know, takes people back kind of when they watch them, because it's like, is this really the Lakers team that can represent LA? You know, in regards to them being a champion again, it doesn't really look good. It doesn't look good at all. It looks like it's not even possible most nights. But, you know, they found a way to get a win, like I said, against Dallas. They found a way to get some, you know, a few other wins. So I'm not taking nothing away from them. But in the long run, the Lakers look at playoffs. They don't look at regular season. They look way beyond regular season. That's not even what they're about. When they enter a season, they're already thinking playoffs. I mean, because that's the type of team they are, and that's the expectation. That's how great of a foundation was built around this team. So you have to respect that. So when you look at this team overall, Rob Pelinka, you know, the rest of the guys, I mean, they're looking at this team. Even Magic from afar is looking at this team, and this team ain't it. This team don't have it. This team is not it. This team doesn't have what it takes to win a championship. It's too many flaws. There's too many holes in their game for them to win. I mean, you're asking this team right here that's inconsistent from night to night to go in a 7-game series against the Warriors, against a lot of other teams in the West, the Phoenix Suns. It's not going to work. I mean, they'll get beat 4-1 at best. I mean, they just don't play consistent enough, you know, and LeBron does everything he can, but at some point, you know, he might actually possibly run out of gas. And that's where Russell Westbrook has to come in at. Russell Westbrook has to really, they brought him here for him to step up and take a lot more load off LeBron James to kind of save him for the playoffs. And right now, the way they're playing, LeBron James is using more energy than he probably would like to this early in the season just to keep them afloat. And that's not what the whole purpose was. You think you'd have 3 superstar type players on a team, or 3 superstar players on a team who can, if one doesn't like have it tonight, the other one, you know, takes over, or if one wants to take off a night, you know, that can happen. You still can win because you still got 2 superstars. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you look at this team, they're not well put together. And I mean, I don't know if LeBron orchestrated the fact that, they should trade for Russell Westbrook, since everybody say, especially analysts like Skip Bayless always says, yeah, LeBron's the GM of the team. He's the general manager. Well, if he's a general manager and if he wanted Russell Westbrook, which that's what the report said at the time, then, I mean, hey, they might have made a mistake. I mean, and like I said, it's possible they made a mistake, and that's what the officers and the upper management is starting to think. They go with LeBron. If they roll with his decision, that's good because they trust him. But they made a mistake if that's the case, because I don't see them winning a championship playing this way. I mean, like I said, the Dallas Mavericks without Luka Doncic and Porzingis played okay. I mean, you can't go into overtime with a team like that who has nobody on the floor, specifically compared to you when you got 3 superstars on the floor and you can't dominate a team like that with Maxi Kleber and Dorian Finney-Smith. Like that's garbage basketball. You're not going to win championships like that. And see, when you think about the Lakers and the organization and how good of a team they've been on legendary status, they can't let themselves look this bad in front of the fans in LA. It's just not a good look. I mean, me growing up in LA, I've always saw them as a good team. They were always a great team. Always was a great team. And even when they had somewhat down seasons, well, they still had Showtime basketball. They still was exciting to watch. You see what I'm saying? So, and they haven't really had many down seasons. So, that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's something about, like most people will tell you, it's something about wearing the purple and gold is what most people would say. And this team is predicated around winning. And if they're predicated around winning and they represent that, and they see Russell Westbrook playing the way he's playing, they have to make a move. I mean, they have to make some type of adjustment, because if they don't, I just don't see where they're going to go outside of the first round or second round of the playoffs, because the way they play from night to night, you don't know what you're getting. You might get 60 plus points from all 3 superstars, but they might have 18 or 19 turnovers. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like you're beating yourself. These teams are not really better than you. It's just you're beating yourself with giving them more opportunities to score than yourself. And that's what the Lakers have to understand. It's like, well, maybe they understand it, but they don't play like they understand it. And that's what's going to hurt them going forward. And you look at a win like last night, like I said, a win is a win. You take it how you can get it. Nobody's discrediting that. But at the same time, you've got to be more dominant than that against a team that doesn't have their superstar. You have to put your foot on their neck, go out there and let them know you mean business. And this is a waste of our time. We're moving on to the next game. That's the mentality you got to have. You got to play like a dominant team. When you got all your pieces, you've got to play dominant as possible, so you can build more chemistry and more confidence with your team. So when it come time for playoffs, things like that, you can make moves. You can get past the first round. You could be a upper level team, or looked at as an upper level team, and play like an upper level team. And that's what the Lakers need to do. But they can't seem to do that consistently. They have moments and spurts in games where they look pretty good, but they can't do nothing consistently enough to allow them to become the team everybody envisioned them to be. Now, when you look at them on defense, I mean, Russell Westbrook, there again, he's more of a liability probably than anybody on the floor on defense, because he has never played defense. I mean, he's always had his triple doubles and, did highlights, things like that. But defense is just not his thing. I mean, when you look at, whoever he's defending, I mean, either they blow by him or they get whatever they want offensively, because he really just doesn't have any type of defensive IQ. And when you think about the Lakers as an organization, they've always had good defensive players. I mean, you can, Kareem, well, way back then. Who else? I mean, they've had a lot of good defensive players. I mean, Kobe was a good defensive player. It's like they've always been predicated on defense, along with all around high IQ basketball. And when the Lakers organization looking at this team the way they are now, they probably really just don't see it, because they're wondering how can LeBron carry this team as old as he is with a Russell Westbrook turning the ball over the way he does. I mean, these talks really might become reality about what they're speaking about internally, because by All-Star break, you never know what can happen. I mean, definitely by the end of this season, I don't think Russell Westbrook will be there especially if they don't win. Hell, even if they do win, I don't know if he would be there. But that's my point. Like the way he's playing right now, I'm not sure. But like I said, he's not really playing bad. But to me, the little winning streak they had and playing as good as about as good as they have played this season so far, it's really been all because of LeBron. And like I said, you don't want him to run out of gas before the playoffs, because we saw him last year in the first round with Phoenix. The old LeBron James would have probably took that, beat him by himself. But he's not that younger LeBron James. He's not who he was back then. And the Lakers have to understand that. So maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I definitely understand why they're looking for other options. We'll just have to see if that's how it turns out, and do they make any moves. But I definitely don't blame them for doing that from what they've seen so far, because honestly, it just doesn't look like it's going to be a foundation they could build around going forward, because it just doesn't look consistent enough, and it doesn't look good enough for their expectations and what they have set out for their teams to do when it comes postseason. So the Lakers will make a decision. We'll see what happens. And as of right now, like I said, everything is okay for the moment. Everything is, copacetic, but we'll see how it goes with the rest of the season and how they fare against better competition, better teams, and see if they actually find a way to get a rhythm together, and find themselves beating some good teams, because their schedule's coming, fast every night, just like every other teams. And they're going to start playing some, better competition. So they're going to have to be ready. They're going to have to be, on their toes. They're going to have to understand that, they got to play way better basketball than what they put out right now to even feel like they can win a championship, because confidence is everything. When you don't have that confidence, you can win games off talent sometime, but you've got to be a confident team to win championship. You've got to be a dominant team. You've got to show signs of dominance, and they have none. So we'll see how it goes, but we'll see how Russell Westbrook fares out. Will he make it through the rest of the season? I believe he will, but we'll see how it goes. And hey, Khaliis out.